Hey there guys, Apprentice Paul here. I'm on a journey where I learn about beekeeping in Australia, and today we're going to be making lids for our 10 frame hives. This episode is brought to you by Thank You Honeybee. So in the last episode I did plan on making these, but the video was just going to end up being too long. So I'm trying to keep the videos under the 20-minute mark if possible. Mainly for you guys so you're not sitting there going through a lot of stuff. The original one with the frames, I wanted it that long because I wanted to fit every single bit of detail in there so you could see just how I went about them. Alright, now what we're going to do here, first of all we're going to make our box up. We're going to put the lid on it, we're going to put our vent holes in, and then we're going to put our tin on the top. I'm not actually going to fix the tin to the next one completely because, as I said, I'm going to wax dip everything. Baseboards, boxes and lids are all going to be wax dip. Just going to try to make them last a bit longer. Alright, I'll get on with it. First up I've just got to strip some timber off for the frame. Then I'll go through, put the holes in. I'll fit the mesh on the inside, I'll assemble the box, and then I'll put the lid on. I'll cut and put the lid on. There's a lovely rebate yet again. So now I just need to drill some holes in there for the vent. So this one's a fairly simple jig. All I do is I just position where I want the hole in the end, from the end and from the top of the box, and then I flip it over, do the opposite side, and because I don't want to burr on the inside of the hole, what I do, I only drill part the way through, spin my timber over and then finish it off the other way once I've sort of penetrated through with that first bit. So just stops a lot of breakout and makes it a lot neater. Now we'll just cut a piece of mesh to go over that. There we have it. So there's our nice little meshed up hole for ventilation. Alright, now we'll glue our frame together, nail our box together. Okay, so there's the frame for our bee box. So now we'll just fix our lid. Just a hot tip, when you're nailing these, make sure you don't nail through where your hole is. Okay, so I've got a piece of 0.6 of a millimetre thick galvanised steel. I'm going to make this from the lids. You could probably use Colorbond steel if you can get it in flat sheets. 0.5 thick would probably be just that little bit better. It's just that little bit easier to fold. Now, I spent $36 on this sheet and I'm going to get 2 out of it, but eventually I'll buy large sheets to do a lot more with. What I'm hoping to do is get 6 and 2 nukes out of 6 10 frame lids and 2 nuke frame lids out of one sheet. And that way the more I can get out of a larger sheet, the better the cost will be. Buying sheets like this is quite expensive. Now, when we make our lid here, it's going to come down, but we don't want it to cover those holes at all if possible. Trying to keep those open as much as we can, mainly because spiders and things like that will lurk in there and we want to be able to clean them out and don't want to cut our fingers doing it. So, but you don't want to leave the edges of the plywood exposed either. So if you can just get the sheet to fold down just over the top so it just misses that hole, that'll be perfect. So basically all you're going to do is you're going to mark your sheet out the same dimensions as that, and then because we're folding it down, all we do is just add that much distance to each side, and that's how much we're going to fold down. Now, I'm not sponsored by them at all, but if Empire would like to sponsor me for pens, that'd be really good. These are probably the best pens that I've found in years for writing on it, just about any material. Then they do make a little bit more accurate, like a fine tip, but for what I'm doing here, this is perfect. But these are really, really good. I'm not sponsored by them, as I say. I'm not sure if you can see it, but on this side there's a lip and that side's rolled in. That came from when I was cutting through with the Tim snips. One side was pushing down. What I want to try to do is keep that on the inside of the timber so that when I'm in the hives I can handle these with my bare hands, and I won't get a sharp edge to touch up against. So yeah, just little things like that just to make life a little bit easier. I'm just going to get a soft edge hammer. So I've got a copper hammer here now. I'm just going to tidy up these edges just to take those rolled bits off, and then I'll mark the next step. So what I've done here, I've marked in that 15 millimeters that I want the steel to come down over the side of the lid. So we've got 15 millimeters that way, 15 millimeters that way. So then what I've done, I've marked a point from the corner to that intersection. I'm going to cut along there. So what that'll mean is when I put my lid on here like so, I can then fold that down onto the side of the lid. I'll just trim them up. Alright, so what I'm going to do here now, I'm just going to line where I want that fold to go up with the edge of my table, and then I'm just going to tap it all down with a hammer nice and slowly. This hammer I'm using is a copper hammer, so it's not going to damage my table at all. And there you have it, one nicely fitting lid. Now, I'm not going to nail this one on. Actually, I'll just get the other lid. I don't want to nail that sheet metal onto that new lid just yet because I want to wax dip all of them. So I'll just show you what I've done in this lid. I ran the nail gun down the side, just putting some nails in, and then on these corners I'm going to use a flathead nail just to finish it off, just to hold these sharp little bits in. Now before I fitted the lid, I ran a bead of silicone all the way around the rim on the inside there. I just used a bit of construction sealant, so just something like a Sikaflex or something like that, just to stop any water from ingressing its way back up through into the top of the lid. Okay, so there you have it. I had to drill through there. 2 layers of material was just too much for the nail to drive through. So I've drilled through the steel first and then put a flathead nail in there just to hold those corners in. So, trust British paints. I'm going to go through the entire lot of these boards. So there's another 9 sitting over there plus this one, and I'm just going to put a piece of timber in under there just to help with the clamping. Because basically when you clamp the hive, what will happen is your timber will sag in, and then you get a dish lid and it squashes the sides in, and then you'll get water sitting on the side of that. So try to keep your hives as flush as possible by making everything perfect. So if you can put that timber in there, when you clamp it, it'll actually stop that bowing in. Hopefully in the next episode I am going to be wax dipping these. Or if not, I'm going to be building the wax dipping tank. I've got an old box in mind that I want to use for that. It's just an old toolbox that I had underground years ago. So I found an article about hot dipping of wax beehive components for preservation and sterilisation. This is bought out by AgriFutures in Australia. So I'm going to follow those guidelines fairly well. This article goes as far as talking about the types of waxes to use. So I'll be using microcrystalline wax and paraffin wax in equal parts to do my wax dipping. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've found some places where to purchase that wax. From what I've been reading and from what I've been able to find out on wax dipping, each hive uses only around about 150 millilitres of wax for each dip. How true this will be, I don't know. We won't know until we're done. So yeah, hopefully it is those numbers. But I've got to do some work on the tank first. I've got to extend the sides up a bit for when it foams. So that'll be the next episode. All right, well again, thanks very much for watching. I hope you got something out of today. That's the name of the game. Until then, stay safe. Cheers.